Some former WWE talent are about to join AEW for AEW Collision this coming Saturday. We're going to tell you exactly who those talent are, what it means for their future, what it means for AEW as pro wrestling free agency is in full swing. We're also going to talk about what is next for WWE as far as PLEs, as they are ready to make a pretty big change when it comes to those premium live events and how they're structured. All that much more coming up right here in this video. So be sure to smash that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. Okay, so without further ado, let's get to the interesting news that broke courtesy of FightfulSelect.com. Here it is, quote, Fightful Select has learned that Maximum Male Models, now known as MXM, are booked for this weekend's AEW Collision show in Youngstown, Ohio. We're not sure what their creative plans are or if they're going to speak with AEW. However, as of this week, they were planned to be at the show. And notice how the report said booked to be there. That is an interesting development. We know that Mansoor, again, released by WWE along with his tag team partner Mace, used to be paired up with Maxine Dupree back in WWE as Maximum Male Models, a gimmick that honestly got pretty over with a lot of the internet crowd, and it has kind of, carried on in prominence and carried on in its memery, quite frankly, into the work that they are now doing on the independent scene. It's fantastic work, by the way, by them. I think that they are completely worthy of the booking and recognition that they have gotten up to this point. Now, Maximum Male Models are Mace and Mansoor in AEW. This is interesting. So, of course, they have not signed. Mansoor was at AEW in LA a few weeks ago. So, he was backstage, I should say. So, this is something that it has kind of been in the works, at least for a while, you could say. And it is coming to a head as they are booked for this week's Collision. We have not seen them advertised at all for this week's Collision. We also should note that AEW, for their TV, tends to do advertising pretty late, especially nowadays. Like, I feel like we don't really get a good word, or, we don't hear about AEW matches or what the hell we're going to watch tonight until the day of, which is part of an ongoing issue with AEW and the way they present television. Side note, but this is interesting because, like I said, you have one of the hottest acts on the indies, two of the hottest names on the indies who have made it abundantly clear they are more than happy being free agents, controlling their own destinies, controlling the way they're booked, controlling what they do as a team, doing their Twitch channel, doing all of these external activities that they do. And they're fine with that being the way they're presented. Now, with talent like this, talent like Ali, I think you could see maybe this model, Matt Cardona being another name, you could see this model be used for talent. Because we've seen Matt Cardona pop up in AEW a few times. He's never signed a full-time deal there, but he's popped up a few times. And when he does come in, it feels big. And he doesn't get lost in the shuffle. He's not part of that massive roster, and it gives him an opportunity to, when he does show up, get that big pop, make an impact, and make it important when he does show up. And I think you could do a very similar thing here with MXM. Like, you have the ability here to take advantage of the name recognition that they have built up on the indies over the past number of months, and the hype that they have, the stuff that they're doing in Uganda with SGW. Like, there's a lot of positive energy, especially coming out of these two as a tag team. And if we know AEW right now, one thing they could definitely use is like positive vibes, positive energy, as they not only have come out of arguably one of their darkest periods as a company, as from a backstage morale and locker room perspective. But, also as far as the fans go, like a lot of that brawl in and brawl out stuff, it hurt AEW's reputation with fans. I think to say that did not wane on people would be it would be a little naive to say, in my view. And that's putting it nicely, to be frank. Like I think over time, the drama, the hullabaloo, the hoopla, as engaging and captivating as it was in the moment, over time, people just kind of got sick of it. No one wanted to hear about what the next big AEW controversy is. No one wanted to hear about what the hell is going to go on with CM Punk and AEW and, oh, he's back in WWE. Now they're playing the video. I think over time, that waned on a lot of the fan base that they had built up and built goodwill with, especially in 2021 and 2022. And they lost to people. And it is clear that they did. It's a company that a year and a half ago, Dynamite was clearing 1 million viewers. Right now, they're barely hitting 790,000. Barely. And you can obviously account a percentage of that. There's always going to be a percentage of that you could account to a drop-off from cable. But the percentage that we're seeing here with AEW is in the range of double digits, 10 to 13% drop-offs for just Dynamite. Compared to where Raw is, where I believe it's, again, go look at WrestleNomics for the full numbers, but I believe for Raw right now, it's somewhere around 5 to 6%. So it's not the same as far as how far everything else is dropping. And that should be concerning. And I'm sure that they've at least talked about it backstage, and Tony Khan is aware of it. So maybe this could be a way, bringing in hot indie talent, bringing in, people who have more of a positive energy about them. I think this could be a way for them to counteract that a little bit, but we will see what happens there, guys. Let me know what you think about this in the comments section. What do you think Maximum Male Models, said their name wrong. What do you think Masse and Mansoor should do once they get to AEW? Let me know in the comments section. As we move on to our next and final topic, that being WWE PLEs. Let's talk about it. So, looks like WWE is going to be making a pretty significant change to one of the traditions that Triple H has made very important over his time in WWE, and that has been the post-show press conference. This is according to WrestleVotes, who is pretty well sourced when it comes to WWE. He says, quote, "Interesting tidbit. Source states WWE is altering its plans for a, quote, press conference after this Saturday's Clash at the Castle PLE. It will now be a post-show with the possibility of media questions still undetermined." That is according to WrestleVotes. Should be worth noting that WrestleNomics and WrestleNomics and the Post Wrestling earlier today said on their show that there is still a press conference planned as of right now for Clash, and that is moving forward, and a WWE rep said so. So it doesn't seem like we're going to get any change here, but could we get a change after that, as the WrestleVotes tweet and report alluded to? Absolutely. And it would make a lot of sense given, two things. Number one, given WWE and just the way they operate, right? Being as transparent as possible does not incentivize them. And putting Triple H in a position, let's be clear, putting him in a position where he has to answer tough questions during a time where the company and Vince McMahon are being investigated and legal action is being taken against them for potential trafficking. That is not a position you want to put Triple H, who is supposed to be the rah-rah, happy-go-lucky, creative guy who talks about how great everything is. Because that's the message that WWE wants to send out with these press conferences. This is a message any company, when they have a press conference, that's the message they want to send out. They want to send out a message of, here's how great everything is. Here's how hyped everyone is. Ask some questions that gets people talking about how fantastic we're doing. That's what it's all about. It's about positivity. It's supposed to be about spreading positivity. But as we saw at the Rumble, when Triple H is questioned about the Vince McMahon news and the controversies surrounding that, it has not gone well for him. We also saw a reporter at the France show. There's a little bit of an incident there, and I think this kind of plays into it too. There was a reporter at the France show earlier this year that when he asked a question to Triple H about a bit of a controversial thing with one of the talent who was released, that reporter or that media member, whatever you want to call them, was allegedly told like that was a stupid question by one of the PR reps with WWE, and that was the question that Triple H kind of threw PW Insider and Fightful under the bus or whatever, and then there was an apology made. Hullabaloo, hoopla, all that stuff. I think what we could see is them go to more of a post-show vibe where it's like, kind of similar to what we've seen in the NFL. Right after a big game ends, you'll have the analysts kind of talking about what happened. Same analysts as the pre-show, talk about what happened, what it means moving forward, and kind of breaking down, synthesizing the event. And maybe we'll get a press conference. Maybe we'll get some questions. Maybe that'll happen. But if we're being honest, WWE, what do they have to gain from these press conferences outside of showing that they're as transparent as possible? I think given what they're doing and given the legal ramifications for what they are facing and what Vince McMahon is facing, I think part of the calculus here could be to eliminate the press conferences entirely and just do post shows. Like whether it worked or scripted, whatever post shows they want to do. Because that's just what's in their best interest. I don't agree with it. I think that we should be asking these questions to these companies every time that we get a chance to. But, I also know that how the PR game works. And I'm sure someone back there is like, why are we doing this? What are we gaining from this? Let's just scrap it and do a worked show. And look, you can't lie or you can't fight with that logic. Like, it is true. It would be more beneficial to WWE if that were the case. But we'll see what happens after Clash at the Castle, though. Let me know in the comments section what you guys think about this. Do you like the press conferences? Do you hate them? Do you think they're kind of corny? Do you really care? Let me know in the comment section. Also, be sure to smash that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released.